Breaking right now, the vile and despicable gang of internet trolls, the Sussex Squad, have invaded the Invictus Games, seem to be sitting behind Prince Harry and Meghan, and are now...
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a major developing story that's causing shockwaves across Royal Watch circles and beyond. It involves Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, the notorious Sussex Squad, and respected royal author Tom Bower being targeted at the Invictus Games. Grab your popcorn because things just got seriously ugly. Let's jump right into it.
Stalking and attacking and encouraging the police to arrest Tom Bower, the royal author who, of course, published the tell-all book about Meghan Markle. Now, no wonder Harry and Meghan ruined Invictus is trending all over social media, but the Sussex Squad, they just want to target people who are telling the truth. So let's look first at the disgusting way that they tracked down and then targeted Tom Bower, who, let's be honest, I know him very well, good guy, but elderly man in Vancouver.
Are at Invictus.
Oh, why I'm here?
Yeah, why are you at Invictus? Sure, really? Yeah? That's why you came to see? Or is it because you know Harry and Meghan were going to be here today? Yeah. Yeah, we've read the things you've wrote about them, especially Meghan. We've seen your book, we've heard about your book. So it's very interesting that you're at Invictus because we know why you're here. So why don't you tell the truth about why you're here? You came all the way from the UK and the UK press to Invictus in Canada just because you want to see it. Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah. But yeah, we know.
Now, these are truly despicable people. And remember, despite everything they've done, despite their attacks on Catherine, the late Queen Elizabeth II, Queen Camilla, and now journalists, Harry and Meghan have never disassociated themselves with this folk. And by the way, this is officially sanctioned by the Sussex Squad. The Sussex Squad podcast actually posted on X about this. If you all see bowel movement at the Invictus Games, so they're talking about Tom Bower there, how revolting are these people? Make sure you let him know how evil he is and get it on video. Also let him know he will not be allowed to stalk Meghan. Better yet, call the cops on him.
Tom Bower, the journalist behind the best-selling expose Revenge, showed up quietly at the Invictus Games, not causing a scene, not reporting live, simply attending. But that wasn't good enough for the Sussex Squad. They hunted him down, surrounded him, and aggressively questioned why he was there, recording the encounter while encouraging others to call the police on him.
Now, this comes at the same time as Meghan's mole has actually spotted one of Meghan Markle's favourite so-called squaddies sitting right behind her at the games, and Meghan's mole tweeted, "Peace has openly threatened the Wales family and their children on this platform. How on earth did she manage to secure that seat?" And look, there's a lot of anger about what's going on here, of course. Madam Megaflop posted on X, "I'm starting to think that Harry and Meghan's Sussex Squad will end up overshadowing the Invictus Games event. A police investigation must be conducted. People attending the Invictus Games could be in jail." And responding to that video of Tom Bower, they posted, "OMG, this is blatant elder abuse. This is what Harry and Meghan promote. Total abuse and disrespect against Tom Bower." Dan Wooten, I hope you are watching this. And P. Dina, who's actually here tomorrow, the royal YouTube sensation, posted, "Disgusting how brainwashed these people are for Meghan Markle. Tom Bower's book spoke truth. We live in a free country and he can go anywhere he wants." So I guess we shouldn't be surprised, Angela Levin. We know the Sussex Squad are revolting people. They are trolls.
We've both experienced it, haven't we, as well?
Terribly.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. But what do you think about them actually physically targeting Tom Bower, encouraging people to film him, and also suggesting that the police should be called on him simply for reporting at the Invictus Games?
Well, the police won't do anything about it. You know, he's entitled to be there as a human being. But Tom is, as you know, very, very strong. And he'll use that in his book, I'm quite sure. He's open to anything, really. And he does like to go for the negative quite a lot. So he would have quite a good story based on this. And he will get information out of some of them, of course, because he's also a very good book writer. But, I don't think he needs our help. He knows exactly how to do it. And if he doesn't like people, the more he writes about them. So I don't think we need to worry that much.
Well, I hope not. I hope not. But the thing is, Angela, these people are particularly grim in so many ways. And it does feel like the Invictus Games is getting such bad PR because everything's about Harry and Meghan. Now everything's about the Sussex Squad. You have been told that a lot of Canadians, despite Meghan claiming that, she was returning home, are actually not at all impressed with the way that Meghan seems to be destroying these games.
No, they're not, you see, because they didn't want her there. They had some sort of thing to say, let's try and stop her, but it hasn't worked. And Germany don't want her. I mean, they just don't want her to take over. This is for people who have been wounded and help them get better. And actually what they've done before each year that it's on, it helps them together and they can talk about things and understand each other and help each other. Because if you're very fit and then suddenly you're not at all, you feel very lonely, and it does help. But they don't want somebody like Meghan taking over. And Harry obviously just stands behind her and watches. But I think, just back to Tom, I mean, it's obviously not the right way to behave, but he would go there knowing that there would be a big fuss about him going there. He's incredibly, he knows these things, and he would say, well, I'm just going to see how it is. And but I think for the Canadians and for the rest of the world who do want to see things, and for the people who've been training a long time and doing well, they don't want it full of Tom Bower or Harry or Meghan or anyone. They just want the sport. I mean, that's what it's there for. Can you imagine in the games, it's interesting that you wouldn't hear anything. You would just hear the arguments around and what's going on. You don't want anything like that. It spoils it hugely. But I think Meghan doesn't care. In fact, if she wasn't in the camera all the time, she's now got her pictures on her phone, she would be furious.
All because he dared to write honestly about Meghan Markle's controversial past. Let's get real. If journalists like Tom Bower are now being harassed, filmed, and threatened with arrest just for attending events, what does that say about free speech today? Criticism should be met with dialogue, not intimidation.
And I mean, the thing is, Angela, these people are just so grim. I mean, Daily Diaries Friday, which is another Sussex Squad account, wrote, "This disgusting pig is at the Invictus Games. Somebody call the police. I love the Sussex Squad protecting Harry and Meghan from scum." Now, remember, Angela, Harry and Meghan are the people who claim to be trying to stamp out internet hate. That's one of their missions. But here we have an example of internet hate actually translating into the real world. They're putting a journalist at threat. And of course, we hear absolutely nothing from Harry and Meghan. They have never once, Angela, in all of these years, Angela, they have never once disassociated or distanced themselves from the Sussex Squad in any way.
Yeah, well, Harry or Meghan or both of them together should go up to him and say, why are you here? Leave us alone. But I'm not going to let the people do it themselves. I'm just coming up and saying, watch out. And that's it. He can sit down and watch it. He's entitled to say, I want to see it. Why not? But of course, he has a lot that will help him with his book. I'm sure he must be doing another one. It did very well. He earned a lot of money. So I'm quite sure that he'd want to do another one.
Yeah, of
Even
course.
though it's hard, he's used to this. A lot of people get very annoyed with him about what he says, particularly if it's not true. I mean, but he's okay.
Of course, Revenge was the book, so maybe we're going to have part 2 of
Yes, Revenge Part Two. Yeah, that'll be it. That'll
That
be
will
it.
be.
I just wondered in the first one he didn't mention anything about their children, so maybe there will be some sort of story about whether they're there and what they're like and what's happened. I think that's for the next one, but I don't know.
Now, Angela, big news regarding, we've been following this closely, haven't we? Meghan's jam, or more to the point, Aro, American Riviera Orchard, which has had all of these problems, a botched launch, no chief executive, copyright issues. But now, major reporting from the Daily Mail, which headlines this Meghan's Last Hope. And the idea is that Netflix are now effectively going to try and launch this brand. So let me take you through exactly what has been reported. The Daily Mail can reveal that the Duchess of Sussex will finally launch her brand in just a few weeks' time at brand new brick and mortar stores owned by one of her employers, streaming giant Netflix. And say sources, the success or failure of her products in the Netflix house superstores will make or break Meghan's entrepreneurial ambitions. The first of the American Riviera Orchard stands will open in early March in 2 of America's biggest retail centers, the King of Prussia Mall in Philadelphia and the giant Dallas Galleria. The Duchess will offer a range of products under American Riviera Orchard brand, and according to a Netflix source, will include jam, honey, and olive oil.
This is bigger than Meghan Markle or Tom Bauer. It's about protecting our basic rights. If you believe in free speech, open debate, and standing up to bullies, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Join our community where truth still matters.
This is make or break for Meghan, says the source. Her new show is rolling out the same time as Netflix stores open. The Netflix stores will offer products and merchandise from all their biggest shows like Squid Games and Stranger Things. They will contain an on-site cafe, so Meghan's products like her strawberry jam will be featured on the menu too. This will determine the future for Meghan as a businesswoman. Let's face it, she hasn't been that successful so far. Well, Angela Evan, look, that is the biggest understatement of the year. And people are completely missing the point with this story. This is Meghan giving up. Like, there's only a few of these Netflix stores in the world. It will be a novelty product. It's nothing like Goop, which is what Meghan Markle originally wanted to try and copy, Gwyneth Paltrow's brand. This is Meghan effectively saying, Netflix, save me. I've launched a brand. I've got no idea how to get product out. Oh, can you pop a few of these things in your stores? It's just embarrassing. It's certainly not her last hope. This is confirmation that American Riviera Orchard has failed before it's even started.
Well, the interesting thing is we've had no notice of the fact that they were going to allow her to use that title. She was told that she couldn't use it because it was too much like the area around where she lives, and you can't own an area. So she couldn't use that at all. So what's happened? Suddenly she got it. I mean, she was going to get it this coming March, next month. So maybe it's come earlier, but she wasn't allowed to use it. And the fact that secretly somebody must have made loads and loads of jam and honey. I mean, she's got the bees, but there's only not very many of them, so I don't quite know how there's going to be lots of honey. And it's already in the shops. Who's done it? The thing was that she couldn't get cooks because they were fed up with her sort of leaning over them all the time and trying to micromanage what they were doing. And they got fed up and they left because they didn't like it. Quite right too. You know, if you get a top chef, you can't actually tell him what to do if you're not a great cook yourself. So I don't understand it at all, how it's in these shops. And I think it would be people may buy it once just to taste it, but where's it all coming from? It was all supposed to be coming from her garden. Well, that's not going to go very far. It's an incredible mystery to me and a muddle, and I don't know quite what it said is going to happen is actually going to happen. It doesn't make sense, because very close to that, this love from Meghan is going to come out, although that's not going to be jam and honey. That's going to be stick your fingers in the flour, or put leaves in glass and ice cubes and all of that. And that's more like, just relax with me. But that's a nonsense as well. I think today's women don't necessarily have time to do minute things in their kitchen. I don't know how that can be very popular, really.
At the end of the day, Harry and Meghan's silence on this harassment speaks volumes. They preach kindness and compassion, yet stand by as their most radical fans attack anyone who questions their narrative. Tom Bauer stood his ground. The question is, will we? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'll be reading and responding to as many as I can. Stay strong, stay smart, and as always, keep questioning everything. Until next time.
Schofield here with my friend Scott Rouse, the recognized, in my opinion, leading expert in behavior and body language. Scott serves as a trusted advisor to law enforcement, the military, top-tier CEOs, and me. You might recognize him from News Nation or the Dr. Phil Show. Be sure to follow Scott on his YouTube channel and the Behavior Panel's YouTube channel, although I have, a suspicion that you already do. Okay, so Scott, thank you for being here today. Do you mind if I give you some backstory before we break down?
All right, let's break this all down in a nice, chatty, unfiltered way, because this conversation between Kai Schofield and body language expert Scott Ross about Meghan Markle's new Netflix series and that awkward Chrissy Teigen episode. Phew, it's loaded. We've got fake friendships, weird self-praise moments, shiny jewelry in the bread dough, and some serious psychological decoding from one of the top behavior analysts in the business.
Oh, perfect. So Chrissy Teigen's appearance on Meghan Markle's new series has stirred up some outrage. Critics argue that Meghan is aligning herself with somebody who has faced years of accusations for bullying behavior on social media. The pairing, I should say, feels especially awkward given that Meghan herself has been accused of mistreating palace staff during her time as a working royal, and Meghan has denied the allegations. But it's the contrast between her public messaging about kindness and compassion and the stories that continue to follow her. I know you probably saw the Vanity Fair article, The Hollywood Reporter, in the last year. Also, Meghan's involved in that anti-bullying charity, that to protect children online. And you're like, Chrissy literally is accused of bullying a teenager. So now that you have the backstory, does that change anything when you watched the pair? Does it make you feel anything?
No, it's what I saw wasn't real. Most of it wasn't real. So it's hard to tell what's actually going on in their real lives. However, then this is just my opinion. I feel like I'm out here going, here's what I think about
And
Meghan.
I love that. I love that for you.
But it doesn't look like the past they had together, whatever. Chrissy Teigen acts like it was nothing, because when she's cooking, I can't believe I'm talking about this. When she's cooking, she's not even paying attention to her. It's that fake thing where you see somebody at a party and you don't know you remember their name, but only after a couple of seconds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then that's when you go up and do that big old fake hug, and then you get away real quick. So the little hug they didn't last as long as, in my opinion, as it should have for somebody who's supposed to be that tight and hadn't seen anybody them in 20 years. You go back and you look at each other and you start talking about children and all that.
Yeah, so that's interesting, because that was one of my questions for you. I kind of have it broken down like through the show, so I might make you repeat this. Let's start at the top, because immediately I thought of this question for you because of your history in the entertainment industry. Shaker groove thing as Meghan Markle is making sourdough. How important is music and placement in branding? Are these old fun hits a conscious effort to make Meghan likable as she's, making that sourdough? Like, the music that doesn't seem to fit is rocking, and it all feels very intentional to me.
It's going back to the demographic in her age group because that was popular, I'm sure, when she was, when she was in college or in high school or something. So she's apparently they found out who their demographic is, and that's who you aim for. You want to put, you want something great to be going on for, but groove thing when you're making bread. Eh,
It was like she did recently joke that she loved like geriatric music, and I was like, okay, but it all felt like to me she's pulling out songs that we love. We just love. We all love. Like you're probably going to hear it at a wedding. You might hear it at a grocery store. And that's because she wants us to like her because we like that song.
Yeah, you do that. That's what music, one of the things music does is it connects people. When you have a situation where there's a lot of people watching, you want everybody to like what's happening because as humans, when it goes back to when if humans were cave people, when you've got that one thing, one guy's just banging one thing over and over, you know what's going to happen next. There's going to be another bang right there. So that connects people. People start watching and they can do it along with that person, with that caveman, let's say, or whatever you want to call him from back then. And then from there, it just progresses and becomes after so much time, it becomes music, and we all know what's going to happen next. So we all move together psychologically music is playing because of the rhythm, and rhythmically we all follow that, and it makes us one, as they say in the music business.
Ah, that's interesting. I like that background. All right. So one thing I think is strange about the show is Megan, there's so much prep that goes into Megan's guest coming over, and Megan is alone as she's creating, whether it's rose water or sourdough bread. And then we're just supposed to watch her guest eat it.
So here's the gist. Meghan Markle's series, her big Look How Relatable I Am project, recently featured Chrissy Teigen. And the backlash? Predictable, but brutal. Why? Because people see it as the ultimate irony. Meghan, who's been accused of bullying royal staff, inviting Chrissy, who was literally accused of bullying a teenager online.
But what I catch in these moments is Megan telling herself it's so good as she takes a bite of the food she just created. She never hesitates to pat herself on the back. Is she genuine when she celebrates herself? Or is she trying to sell us something? I mean, I do wonder, is she her biggest cheerleader? Is this something she's had to do? Hollywood is a city full of rejection. Maybe she has been like, I'm just going to tell myself I'm great every day. But as a viewer, it felt so strange.
You're seeing a clinical narcissist, one of the highest forms of narcissism, and they don't like themselves. They despise themselves. That's what it's a long story with that personality type, but those that are watching that know what that is will get it. They despise themselves, but they want everyone to think they're wonderful. They don't really think they are wonderful or great or fantastic or good at what they do. So they have to tell themselves that they're reassuring themselves that that's probably number two. Number one, if nobody's talking on screen, if it's just that one person doing that, it makes it less exciting. So you have to take into consideration what's happening from a visual and TV level, from the audio video perspective of it to keep it interesting for the viewer. So there's that going on. So they may have said, say something, say how wonderful there's. I doubt that, but that happens all the time. So she's probably just reassuring herself that everything is fine and it's good, even though she knows you'll never know what it could be, tastes like bananas and you'd never know it, or dirt or something. But she's telling you how great it is. So you can say, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
She's doing it for herself, but most likely they've said, look, when you go through this, just talk about it as you do it.
Yeah.
TV's weird. Yeah.
TV is weird. You're absolutely right. All right. So John Legend shows up, who happens to be probably the biggest name on her show at all, through season 1 or season 2. Maybe Mindy Kaling competes with him. But Chrissy and Megan are old co-workers, we're told, but they haven't really been friends, like you said. She hasn't seen her in 20 years. So their on-camera reunion to you felt too staged? Their on-camera reunion to you just felt like this is also for TV?
Yeah. If they're really friends, they would have connected beforehand. We start at 1, so shoot, show up at 11:30, let's eat and we'll hang around, we'll go through so that would happen, not this. So it may not have been a surprise. That may not have been real. It's one of those things where it's like, again, it's TV. In the body language world, there was a show called Lie to Me, and everybody that watched that was like, I'm going to be into body language. I'm learning all about it and stuff. come to find out, I talked to Paul Ekman, the guy who was that show was based on, and it's a show about a guy who works for the government, and he understands body language and human behavior, and he can pretty much tell what somebody's going to do or what somebody's done in a specific situation. And some like on, I think it came on either Tuesdays or Sundays, and all the cops would come over to my house when we watched the show and just howl at how funny it was because you can't do some of the things this guy was doing.
Yeah.
And supposedly Paul Ekman was in there saying, "Here's what you do." So I finally found Paul Ekman's number and I called him.
Yeah.
And I said, "Hey, listen, me and my buddies, we're watching this show and watching your show. And there's things you talk about in your books that are going on this show that aren't happening the way you say they should in the books. What's up with that? You're supposed to be the guy on the." He said, "I go there and I sit on. I've been there on the set, and they said, 'Here's what we're going to do. Does this work?' And I'll say, 'No, that's not what it's about. Here's what you need to change that.' And they won't change anything. And then that's what happens." He said, "So it's TV." And I
Yeah.
said, "Well, what about the blinker? What about this thing?" He said, "It's TV." And he kept just saying that. So I think he sort of resigned to the fact that anything you see on TV has most likely been filtered through whoever wants to make the show do what it wants to do. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense, especially when you consider the fact that this is not even Meghan Markle's house. This is some stranger's house in Montecito, which makes it all. I know everybody doesn't work in their own home, but she's pushing so hard to be Susie Homemaker, and it
Wait,
feels
hang on a second. That's not her house?
no.
It's like watching two people known for PR scandal trying to rebrand as empathy queens over a loaf of sourdough. The internet didn't buy it, and apparently neither did Scott Ross. Kai sets the stage, giving Scott some backstory about the reunion between Meghan and Chrissy. The two supposedly worked together decades ago, but by the looks of it, they are not exactly lifelong besties.
It's a rented
What's
house.
her dog doing there? Wasn't that her dog there?
Yeah, that's her dog. Yeah, she's trying to make it look like her house, so she has her
Oh.
dog there. It feels so weird. I have a strange question. Did you get the sense at all when John Legend was there that he was a protective force for Chrissy Teigen? Because to me, this was such a bad PR move to have two people accused of bullying sitting next to each other on camera. Obviously, it's going to have people bring up the past and bring up accusations. And I wondered if John's presence there was one of protection, because Meghan even says, "Oh, I would have told H. I would have had H over here if I knew you were coming." And it's like you said, this all could be highly scripted and everything. But I wondered if Chrissy might be savvy enough to realize that she was going to get some pushback from this appearance.
As much as I'd love to dive into that and go, "Here's what I think she said," I think it was more about him being on Netflix.
Ah.
That's why that was the
That's
feeling
the
I
that's
got.
the entertainment entrepreneur in you talking. That's very
Yeah.
clever. That's a good call. It was an opportunity for him too. I mean, that was a PR opportunity for him too.
Exactly. And he didn't do anything really, but sit back there and she hollers at him once and, "John, whatever." And that was about it. But it was his chance to come on and see what he was wearing. He was ready for that. He knew that was going to happen. So that's just part of, I'm going to be on Netflix too. So we'll have Chrissy come on and we'll have, John come on and and they'll show up together and Megan's like, "Oh yeah, it'd be great." It's all about the TV thing. It's all about the entertainment. I think.
Clever. Did you believe it when Chrissy was talking about how she adopts all of these dogs? Because like four dogs and four kids. I wondered in that moment because Chrissy's like, "Well, everybody keeps calling me and they need money for this dog, and I just end up taking them all in." I'm a dog hoarder. I love dogs. I know you love animals too. You've got them all over your Instagram feed, whether they're deer or raccoons. Is that a sincere moment for Chrissy, or is she trying to shift the narrative around her bad behavior?
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you think someone who would have all these empathetic feelings and sympathy for dogs and animals, wouldn't you think they'd know their child's birth date, no matter
Oh
how
my
many children
gosh.
they have? I
Yeah.
don't know anybody that doesn't know the date their child was born and has had a problem remembering that.
Yes.
Nobody.
Okay, well, I have on here, did she really forget her child's birthday, or is she trying to be cute? You
No,
believed her when she forgot her child's birthday.
that's real. That was concern. Everything body language wise, as far as facial cues go, that because I pay attention to that. that was real. She wasn't kidding about that. And
Oh,
that's when I was like, what's going on? That's what made me go, what are we dealing with here? Somebody who can't remember has it tattooed on him as well
yeah.
and can't remember the date. I don't that sort of bothered me.
Yeah.
That didn't that wasn't I don't know anybody that's like that.
Has to yell for her husband in the other room that's not mic'd, when was our child born? Yeah, maybe John Legend is her like one half of her brain that she really needs. And that's why he shows up on the Meghan Markle set. Let's see. Is it odd to you that these women are like folding their sourdough with their big wedding rings on? I mean, I don't watch a lot of food shows, but to me, it felt shallow. It felt like it's so important to them that people know that they have these big, gorgeous rings, these expensive rings from these men who truly elevated both of them professionally in their marriages. I thought, so strange. You're fondling food. Take off your jewelry.
But okay, let's go back to TV and Netflix though. That's what they're wearing to show. People wear things to show who they are and what they are. Like, well, I'm here, I'll wear this and a white shirt under it. If I do the news, then I'll wear a button down under because it looks more professional and more whatever. But here, I still get the professional look, but it's me and you, so we're sort of hanging and talking, but I don't want to look like a yutz on your show. So I wear that. People wear the things they want other people to see because it represents them. All these things back here, a book press, the little YouTube things for all the channels that I'm involved with, or, the course we do. All these things matter. That's why you can see all that. And that's why I wear a wedding ring so you can say I'm married. And they want you to see not just that they're married, they want you to see how well they're doing from the size of the ring, and you could sit on those things at the game instead of taking those little fake chairs that are so big. But they want you to see those, and that's understandable. I get it because it's showtime,
Yeah.
and they're out there, they're in the show, they're on Netflix.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. They would keep them on, although you wouldn't, I wouldn't, because what if you hear those stories where they lost a ring when they were cooking and those things. I mean, I've heard 2 or 3 people tell me that
Yeah.
over COVID when everybody's making sourdough. It was like they lost their rings in there because
Yeah.
you don't feel it coming off apparently.
Oh
But
my
yes, I
gosh.
think that's part of it, just part of the show.
Yeah. This next question kind of goes into that. There's a brief deal or no deal discussion. These two were both briefcase girls on the Howie Mandel game show, where their role was to look absolutely gorgeous. And there was one funny story that came out of it I liked when Chrissy Teigen talked about
Scott's verdict? That hug was fake. And not just TV fake. Big old fake hug at a party fake. In the end, the conversation reveals something bigger than just Meghan and Chrissy. It's about how modern celebrity operates. Viewers crave authenticity, but stars like Meghan try to manufacture it. They use nostalgia playlists, relatable cooking segments, and tearful monologues to seem approachable. But as soon as you scratch beneath the surface, it's obvious everything is storyboard. Scott sums it up best when he compares it all to the show Lie to Me. Even the body language experts behind the scenes know that TV changes reality. What you see isn't truth. It's televised truth, tweaked and polished until it sells. So, when Meghan Markle bakes a sourdough in a stranger's house, wearing borrowed earrings and a megawatt smile, telling herself, "It's so good," what you're really watching is a woman desperate to convince both herself and the audience that she's exactly who she wants us to think she is. And maybe that's the real takeaway. When your entire brand is built on being authentic, even your fake smile starts to feel real. At least to you.
a new story from Page Six says that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are reportedly reducing staff to save money. What my source exclusively tells us about household turnover.
All right, let's get into this, because this new Page 6 story about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle reportedly cutting staff to save money has everyone talking. And honestly, this isn't just another PR reshuffle or restructuring headline. This feels like a real shift in how the Sussexes are managing their empire, and possibly a glimpse into some serious behind-the-scenes turmoil. So here's the tea. Over the weekend, Page 6 dropped a bombshell report saying Harry and Meghan have cut ties with their comms team as part of an effort to tighten the purse strings.
Reported that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are reducing their staff to save money. And I have the story right here. So let's go over it. And after that, I want to read you some exclusive quotes that I have from somebody that worked with Harry and Meghan that tell us that even these numbers don't match up. Even these numbers don't quite capture, page 6's, don't quite capture the truth behind the turnover, the body count, as Maureen Callahan and I sometimes call it, of former Sussex employees, the Sussex Survivors Club, as they're known. So let's just take a look at this page 6 story here. It says Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have cut ties with their comms team as they focus on saving money. Page 6 is told just last month it was revealed the renegade royals had parted ways with 6 more employees, including their 2 in-house reps. Now we're told the tally of staff the couple has lost or let go since they quit as working royals back in 2020 is up to 25, with some departures not yet publicized. And my source says that doesn't even begin to describe the amount of turnover that's actually happening within the house. Yes, I've mentioned this here or there, but I've got the actual quotes in today's video for you. We're going to take a deep dive into what it's like to work for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. The Sussex's Netflix deal, reported to be worth $100 million, though sources say it's actually closer to $20 million, is also up this year. It's the same old story. They cycle through staff as quickly as normal people cycle through toilet paper. Oof. Milk lasts longer than their employees, said one royal source. The couple had a hit with their Harry and Meghan docuseries and household tips show with Love Meghan. Oh my God, prove that. There is no question that the Harry and Meghan docuseries was analytically a success. But analytically, I don't think With Love Meghan was a success. If you are judging based on how many TikTok parodies were created, sure. But I don't feel like the return on investment is there for TikTok parodies. But less attention was paid to Heart of Invictus and Polo. What about Live to Lead, page 6? Let's just completely ignore that existence, right? However, the streamer is now prioritizing first look deals rather than overall exclusive contracts, which means they could resign for significantly less money than their current deal, we're told. This could prove a headache for the couple, who has a heap of expenses, from traveling to an annual security bill believed to be around $2 million. It cost Prince Harry like $2 million to go after the government for his UK security, at least. That's money he could be using towards at-home security. As page 6 revealed, they splashed out $14.65 million on their home after moving to the United States. It's now believed to be worth around $27 million. Well, I'd say that's a good investment. Deeds show they took out a $9.5 million mortgage to be paid plus interest by the year 2050. Indicating they put down a $5 million deposit. They also have to pay a huge yearly property tax of $288,000. That's quite the commitment Prince Harry made to that home. They also foot the bill for their staff and communications alongside their personal office, the Archwell Foundation, production, as well as employees at their estate in Montecito, California. We're told the Sussexes have also to pay for, I didn't realize this. This does surprise me. Page 6 claims that the Sussexes have to pay for a portion of their faux foreign tours, which have seen them visit Nigeria and Colombia. Part of the perks, I really thought, of them doing those tours was that it was all taken care of by the government. But page 6 says that they do have to pay for some of those expenses. So that's interesting to find out.
Apparently, they've let go of several key staff members, including both of their in-house representatives. And get this, the outlet claims that since quitting royal duties in 2020, the couple has lost or fired 25 employees. That's 25. But according to Kinsey Schofield's source, someone who actually worked with the Sussexes, that number is way higher when you include household staff.
Harry and Meghan have now lost hardworking Kyle Boulia, their Los Angeles-based deputy press secretary. Who needs a press secretary when you're just an unemployed prince? I ask you this. Charlie Gibson, who had been serving as the couple's European communications director. They also lost Jisha Tank, Archwell's director of communications, and Leanne Cashin, formerly head of operations at Archwell. Markle's social media manager and a personal assistant who have not been named have also departed. Meredith Maines remains the couple's chief communications officer after coming on board in February after their last PR boss, Ashley Hinson, left to start her own consultancy firm. The only other in-house rep is Emily Robinson, who ironically worked on the Netflix royal drama The Crown. Maines has also hired a team from Method Communications to help. As the Duke and Duchess's business and philanthropic interests grow, I mean, I rarely hear about those, I have made the strategic decision to move towards a more traditional communication structure of specialists agency support, said Maines in a statement. Transitioning from a team of 2 to an agency support staff of 8 operating across 5 different time zones will give international media and stakeholders better access and, critically, faster response times to inquiries. In a financial sense, it's cheaper to employ a PR firm as opposed to having full-time staff, said an industry expert. There have, of course, been reports that Harry and Meghan are not exactly the easiest to work with. What a delicate way of saying that Harry and Meghan are reportedly a pain in the ass. Insiders tell us that the couple, but it's specifically Prince Harry, but it says insiders told us that the couple was infuriated and upset by an unflattering Vanity Fair cover story in January, which claimed Markle would be cold and withholding to staffers. At the drop of a dime, if something went poorly, it was really, really, really awful, very painful, an unnamed staff member who worked with Markle on media projects alleged. As another said, she would throw employees to the wolves. It was unfair. What could their staff truly do about it, said a source in the know to Vanity Fair. These sources were anonymous and things could not be refuted. The Sussexes were also unhappy with a Hollywood Reporter expose last September, which claimed that everyone's terrified of Meghan regarding her staff. A source added, she belittles people. She doesn't take advice. They're both poor decision makers. They change their minds frequently. Harry is a very, very charming person, no airs at all, but he's very much an enabler, and she's just terrible. Man, that it's like 6 months later, and no one's changed anyone's minds, whether it's the Vanity Fair story, which came out earlier this year, or that Hollywood Reporter story that came out late last year. Multiple sources told Page Six that Harry was furious at the story and desperate to protect his wife, pushing his staff to work on an Us Weekly cover story, quoting former staffers, saying that they'd loved working with the pair. Alongside this, Harry and Markle's former communications secretary, Jason Knopf, famously filed an official complaint in 2018, accusing the mom of 2 of bullying her staff at Buckingham Palace. In emails leaked to the Times of London, he claimed the former Suits star drove 2 personal assistants out and undermined the confidence of a 3rd staff member. Shout out to Valentine Lowe, who broke that story. It was absolutely unbelievable at the time because we were just seeing teasers for the Harry and Meghan Oprah Winfrey interview, which we could tell was going to be dramatic and that Harry and Meghan were in a fighting mood, right? A Sussex rep hit back saying, let's just call this what it is, a calculated smear campaign based on misleading and harmful misinformation. While Markle's lawyer later told the BBC what bullying actually means is improperly using power repeatedly and deliberately to hurt someone physically or emotionally. The Duchess of Sussex has absolutely denied doing that. That said, she wouldn't want to negate anyone's personal experiences. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's if Meghan is allowed to thrust her truth into the media, then why can't these people that feel like they've been traumatized by their experiences with her? The results of the palace's probe have never been made public, but Knopf, who is now the CEO of the Earthshot Prize, launched by Harry's brother Prince William, recently told 60 Minutes Australia that he wouldn't change a thing about raising his concerns. Markle debuted a rosé wine on Tuesday on what would have been Princess Diana's 64th birthday, a move which did not go unnoticed by fans and royal experts.
The Sussexes might spin this as a cost-saving measure or a shift toward a leaner structure, but it's hard not to see it as a symptom of deeper issues: ego, control, and the inability to delegate or trust. At some point, the PR sheen wears off, the Netflix deals run out, and the only thing left is a reputation you've built with the people who actually know you. Right now, that reputation looks, well, not great.
Here's a quote from me. It says, a source close to the royal household told me it's not lost on Prince William that Meghan has launched an alcohol brand on his mother's birthday, the very mum he lost in a drink driving tragedy, royal reporter Kinsey Schofield told The Sun. Harry, meanwhile, is concentrating on his philanthropic endeavors. Again, where? And trying to mend fences with his estranged family. Again, where? Including his cancer-stricken father, King Charles. In May, he spoke out yet again about his family rift after losing his fight for government-funded security for his family in the UK. I would love reconciliation with my family, Harry told the BBC. There's no point in continuing to fight anymore. Life is precious. I don't know how much longer my father has. Oh my gosh, everybody that I talked to could not believe that last sentence. The Telegraph reported there are some moves within the palace to bring Harry and Charles together, claiming that Harry, Markle, and their two children, I'm not even going to say Prince, Archie and Lily, are being included within Charles's funeral plans. I hate this story and I hate talking about it. I feel like every monarch, they do a run through and they do planning for this type of thing. They have to. I just think it's foul that we talk about it so much. I don't like us, and I'm particularly sensitive about it with the king having cancer, I guess. Regardless of what happens with their Netflix deal, a TV producer told Page Six, I can see Meghan's show coming back for a third season easily. People just love to hate her. All right, well, based on that story, again, that headline really being Prince Harry and Meghan reportedly reducing staff to save money, I want to read you some quotes from a message I received from one of Harry and Meghan's former employees. And I want to protect their identity, so I've left out a significant amount of details. I've left out a lot of what they're saying to me. I just wanted you to get a little insight into this person's experience. So I signed a very tight NDA, and it's been really hard keeping quiet about my experience, says my source. Watching and hearing Meghan portray herself as a victim while I am still experiencing issues after leaving her employment is really difficult. Due to my role in her home, I spent a lot of time with Meghan Markle, and the way she treated me can only be described as dehumanizing. But, of course, it didn't start out that way. Her mask dropped after 6 weeks. The source says, I don't know why I'm writing this, because if she found out, I would be destroyed. But I just wanted to confirm that everything you and Maureen have said about Meghan Markle is spot on. My experience with Harry was wonderful, and he always treated me with kindness and respect. The only problem with your and other reporting is the true number of staff turnover. You only hear about the professional positions, but the household staff departures are much higher. It actually became kind of comical because during a certain period, it felt like every week there was something new, someone new who left, says my source. I put up with so much more than anyone should or would have, due to my respect for the royal family. Harry was so lovely to me and genuinely tried to help me in a lot of ways. He treated me wonderfully. He also did not see the most egregious behavior because it always happened when he wasn't around. I don't think he's fully aware of how Meghan treats people because he doesn't always see it. But when he did, he stepped in, and I will always be grateful for that. I feel like I've said way too much, says my source, but I really wanted to thank you for your reporting. It probably sounds strange, but I felt validated when the Hollywood Reporter reported about the bullying of staff. The way we are/were treated is not normal, and I'm glad that people have started speaking out. I wanted to let you know the household staff turnover is way more than her professional staff turnover. One thing, says my source, I do want to correct is that in my experience, Meghan was and is a wonderful mother. She is very involved and very loving with her kids. She really does make the family breakfast every morning, but sadly leaves all the dishes for the help. And She does do the school run the majority of the time, or at least she did when I was there. I just wanted to clear up that part about her as a mother, because that really is her only redeeming quality. Thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. So the verdict is in. Meghan, great mom, crap boss. And Prince Harry is sitting on a documentary with Hugh Grant.
What I can't see is why and how he thought that he could get a court to award him the ability to pay for security, because that...
Prince Harry is back in the headlines, and not for the reasons you might expect. In a new ITV interview, he claims his fight against the tabloid press is the reason for his fallout with the royal family. But is this bravery, or just another PR disaster? Today, we're breaking down the key moments from this controversial interview. Stick around, because what he says about his father, his brother, and the royal institution might just leave you speechless.
That's the two-tier society we can't have.
Hi all, Kinsey Schofield here, and I am with my dear friend Richard Fitzwilliams. You are a PR genius and one of my favorite royal commentators. You're so thorough. You're quick as a whip, and I love just all of the historical knowledge. Every time I talk to you, you can throw it back to 20 whatever, and I feel so much smarter every time I talk to you. The gift that keeps on giving, Prince Harry. He hates the press, yet he's sitting down for another interview. And of course, the first headlines we're seeing from this ITV interview are that Prince Harry's disappointed that his family, the royal family, aren't joining him in his fight against the tabloid media. I'd love your first reaction when you saw that lower third, when you saw that headline come up on your computer. Did you instinctually say, are you in delusion land? Why? When did you not get the memo that we don't trust you anymore?
Now, that actually sums up the situation. I think that one of the extraordinary things about the documentary that's being broadcast tonight, I've seen the bit of it that includes Prince Harry, which they released early. I think it's quite amazing that he is talking about the rift in the royal family and what partly, conceivably largely caused it, different attitudes towards the media. The fact that he's bringing this up now when two members of the royal family are, as we all know, seriously ill. Now, this is quite extraordinary, because he knows that tonight's documentary is going to get a lot of publicity because of it. But on the other hand, if he's serious in any sense, and one does wonder, because the last time he was here, he and his father didn't see each other for whatever reason, you wonder. I think that there's something very, very ruthless about him. He has said that it's his life's work. He wants to reform the British press, and we know he's won a case, and he compares this to the David and Goliath and the monumental victory and so forth. There's no doubt he was in the witness box. I think it was 8 hours. The first royal.
In the ITV interview, Prince Harry says he's disappointed that the royal family hasn't joined him in his war against the British tabloids. He frames this legal battle as a noble fight for truth, a David versus Goliath situation. But critics are calling him delusional. Why now? Why drag the family into this while King Charles and Princess Kate are both dealing with serious health issues? Some are asking, was this a strategic media play to stay relevant, or is Harry genuinely out of touch with how this looks to the public? Kinsey Schofield and royal expert Richard Fitzwilliams didn't hold back. They slammed the interview as ruthless, poorly timed, and yes, stupid.
To bar Princess Anne and an incident regarding one of her dogs, since Edward VII went Prince of Wales in 1891. Now, clearly, it is the policy of the royal family, for very good reasons, to keep out of the courts. It's essential. Firstly, you never know what's going to come up. Secondly, it's perfectly obvious you're going to get wall-to-wall attention on matters that you might not wish light shed on. It depends what the case would be about. Harry wants it both ways. He wants to remain a royal, of course, which he always will. But on the other hand, he doesn't want the responsibilities that went with being a senior working royal, nor did Meghan, because they only lasted something. Well, they announced stepping back, only to step down, of course, it's a year and a half. Now that isn't service. I refer, of course, to a recent award that he won, but very controversially. I thought that this was extraordinarily ill-timed because it's again showing, it's again putting the spotlight on the royal rift at a time when, putting it mildly, it's not helpful. I think, however, so far as Harry's purposes is concerned, it does, because more people will watch tonight because they've read this and they know he's going to be talking about it. There are others involved, of course, and there are future court cases coming up. And so he may well appear again in the witness box, and this too will draw enormous attention. But also, I note again, when he brought the Princess of Wales up, of course he's devoted to his mother and naturally sees the best side of her. But it was never proven that she was bugged. Indeed, this has been a matter of speculation over the years. But we do know that tragically and fatally, after her divorce, she refused police protection, and I fear it had very, very tragic consequences. Lord Stevens, who conducted the Operation Paget inquiry into Diana's death, he was certain that had she thought or decided differently, there would have been a very different outcome. The police, where policemen would not have, police protection would not have allowed her to get into that car, and they would have had seatbelts if in the event of them so doing. But there's no question that Harry will never put himself in the position of answering difficult questions. He doesn't like it. Remember Anderson Cooper asking him why he and Meghan kept titles?
Yeah, exactly. He was so defiant when he was like, what does it matter?
Fitzwilliams even questioned Harry's motives, pointing out how he uses the media he claims to hate just to promote himself. From Netflix to Oprah to ITV, it's media saturation disguised as victimhood. He wants to be royal without the responsibilities. That's the line that really stuck with me. Let's talk about the massive double standard here. Prince Harry fights the press, but sits down with ITV to do what? Bash his family again. Meanwhile, Prince William is launching real initiatives, fighting homelessness, funding climate innovation, creating impact. While Harry talks service, William is doing it. And public opinion reflects that Harry and Meghan's popularity is tanking in the UK and slipping in the US. Before we move on, if you're enjoying this breakdown and want more unfiltered royal coverage, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and smash the like to keep this channel growing. Another major bombshell?
What does it matter? I mean, he was not going to give Anderson Cooper an inch there. I find it really interesting and compelling that you question whether or not Prince Harry is ruthless, because my first instinct, and I this is probably rude, my first instinct is stupidity, because as you just said, Prince Harry was all over the place. Significant sound bites of this interview, in the days and the hours leading up to this interview, that was their promotional meat. That was the meatiest part that they had. They want us all to tune in. So they slam the most salacious question, pitting Prince Harry in a corner, asking him about his family. They use those sound bites to generate this buzz and this hype so that we all sit down and watch this interview. At what point do you not understand that you're being used? That somebody is, maybe in ITV's case, actually ruthlessly using you, your name, your brand, your presence, the interest in the clickbait in you. I feel like Prince Harry has the power to say to whoever he sits down with, don't ask me about my family. My family is off the table. I'm going to sit down with you. I'm going to give you this exclusive chat, and millions of people around the world are going to then know your name and watch this program because I'm giving you access to me. But I do not want you to ask me about my ill father. I don't want you to ask me about my ill sister-in-law. And I definitely don't want you to ask me about my relationship between my brother and I. He has the power to do that, Richard. Why does he allow himself to me, this is a stumble. To me, that journalist got the sound she needed, but it's not beneficial to Prince Harry. It's not beneficial to his cause.
Prince Harry believes he should be able to pay the British police for private protection. The court disagreed, and rightly so. That would create a dangerous two-tier system where only the rich can buy law enforcement. This is where Harry's thinking gets murky. He's either incredibly naive or believes the rules don't apply to him. Security is serious, but so are laws. And the idea that a royal who voluntarily stepped away expects special privileges isn't sitting well with critics or the courts. Many believe Harry is stuck in the past, repeating the same trauma narrative, rehashing his mother's story, and reliving his royal breakup over and over again. With another memoir rumored and Meghan potentially releasing one of her own, is this the new normal? A never-ending media loop fueled by resentment and old wounds? The real question, when does healing start? When does Harry move forward, focus on Invictus, his family, or any real-world project?
I believe that you're right. I don't think it's beneficial to his cause in the sense that, firstly, in the United States, as you know, his popularity, his and Meghan's, has definitely gone down, although it does vary according to which polls you look at. And also in Britain, it's fearsomely low. There's no doubt about that, but I can't help feeling, you mentioned this business of, we were surprised that this occurred, that he's allowed matters dealing with his family to be talked about and so forth. Is it stupid? I was wondering whether, parts of Spare seemed to me the purest stupidity. You had the issue dealing with experimenting with drugs and the fact that that caused there to be questions about his visa. It was totally unnecessary to go into that sort of detail, and certainly to give one of the interviews with a very controversial figure who had odd views in that regard, or very controversial views. Then again, we think telling the number of Taliban he took out in his second tour of duty in Afghanistan. Military people don't do that. And then again, for the comic relief, if we need penile frostbite and how he lost his virginity. So I don't think he took advice. He said, remember, that of course, that he took 400 pages out. Heaven preserve us. If he took pages out that would have caused even more trouble, and that got him evicted from, and Meghan evicted from Frogmore because of attacks on Queen Camilla, particularly in interviews. It's unbelievable what was in there originally. So who is advising him? Who do you think is actually giving him advice? What advice is he taking? And what input is Meghan having in all this?
Whether you see Harry as a warrior for truth or a professional victim, one thing's clear. This latest ITV interview has sparked more division than unity. At a time when his family is facing real crises, many feel this was not just poorly timed, but reckless. Now it's your turn. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was this a bold move or another media misstep? Do you think Harry's fight with the tabloids is justified or just part of a bigger ego battle? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more royal deep dives, media takedowns, and unfiltered commentary. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.